Am I the a-hole for wanting to walk away from my marriage and the child we were raising after finding out the child is biologically my husband's? There's a lot to this, and it's all newly revealed to me, so I'm still processing, and I'm sure I'll be all over the place. I'm so angry about all this. My husband's sister adopted a child 4 years ago. She had talked before about being a single mom by choice, and when her friend had a child she didn't want to raise, she said it made sense to step in and offer to become the baby's mom. Everyone was supportive and welcomed the child into the family. 2.5 years ago, my husband's sister was diagnosed with MS. She unfortunately declined rapidly and asked us to take in her child, and we agreed. We had not yet had children of our own at that point, which made it easier. We made sure she still spent time with her child, and she asked that we continue raising the child. I'm saying the child to keep anonymity, no matter how bad she gets or if she dies. We agreed. My husband never acted weird around the child, never acted like he had some secret. He acted like an uncle willing to step in and raise his sister's child. Recently, his sister confessed to me that my husband was the biological father of this child. She said my husband and her best friend used to hook up occasionally, and he did it again right before we got married, and this child is the result of his infidelity. I was sick. She told me she couldn't keep lying to me because eventually it would come out, and she wanted to minimize the damage. I confronted my husband, and he denied it. So I asked him to do a DNA test. He's the father. There's no doubt. DNA confirmed he's the biological father. He told me nothing happened since we were married, and he loves me and he's sorry for what he did. He said it was a drunk night before our wedding, and he would never do something like that again. Then he said he wanted us to be a family and offered to adopt his child and raise them as our own. He told me this doesn't have to end us. I left the house and have been staying with my sister since the DNA results. I'm disgusted and I don't want to sign up for this. I know that baby is innocent, but I can now only see what my husband did, and I cannot imagine raising them and acting like their mom and keeping my husband in my life. My husband's sister has reached out to apologize multiple times, and she told the rest of their family the truth also. My husband's parents have tried to contact me to get me back to my husband. They have told me I have a family now and I can't leave, especially not with their daughter unable to raise this baby again. I had to block them because their messages were blaming and shaming me more and more for not agreeing to marriage counseling and moving forward as a family. I don't see a way back from this, but I have been in this child's life since birth and raised them for more than 1.5 years. I just know I could never be a good mom to them knowing what I know. Am I the a-hole for wanting to divorce and walk away? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. A one-night stand before the wedding would have been enough of a reason for divorce. But lying to you for 4 years about his affair child, not even taking proper responsibility for it until his sister got sick, is disgusting. If he'd told you the truth, maybe you could have forgiven him, but that would be up to you. He even denied it once you told him you knew the truth by refusing to do the DNA test. He's the a-hole and you're well rid of him. It would have been for me. Drunk or not, cheating is not something I could ever forgive, and I would never want to because it invites it to happen again, in my opinion. The trust was already broken, but to lie about his child and to let me raise his child with someone else without even knowing that fact is killing me. And the way he wants to erase what he did and for us to adopt his child with someone else tells me he doesn't care about the hurt it caused me. He only cares about moving on with zero consequence for what he did. Not the a-hole. He can look after his own child, and his family can help. I would never get over that betrayal. I can't see a way to get past it either. The disgust I feel about everything that's happened only gets worse the longer I sit with it. A friend of mine had a minor scandal in her family a few decades ago. Her uncle used to travel to Malaysia for business a lot. At some point, he suggested to his wife to adopt a child from there. They didn't have any of their own, so many poor kids living there in poverty. So they flew over together to meet a boy up for adoption. The wife, or so the story goes, took one look at this toddler, turned to her husband and said, "Do you think I'm stupid? That's your son." Turned around, booked an earlier flight home, and filed for divorce. I never met that woman, but I always admired her self-respect. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my brother-in-law it's his fault his daughter won't talk to him anymore? I'm 32 male, and wife's older brother, 45 male, has 3 kids. a 16-year-old daughter from a previous marriage, and 2 kids under 10 with his second wife. He cheated on his first wife with his second one, and they obviously got divorced, and he married his affair partner. He somehow kept the house, and he kicked his ex and their daughter out. He was a horrible father and never really cared about the girl, so he didn't even fight for custody. Her mother got full custody. After his first daughter with his new wife was born, he suddenly woke up and decided to be a dad, so he took his ex back to court for custody. She got to keep primary custody while he got every other weekend and had to continue paying child support. His daughter hated him and his wife and never opened up to him. She, however, was always closer to my wife and me. Eventually, when she was 14, they went back to court because she didn't want anything to do with her dad. Since she was old enough, the judge gave her mom full custody. She went completely no contact with her dad and his new family afterward, but she still loves my wife, my sisters-in-law, and her grandpa. None of us ever pushes her to talk to him. Her 16th birthday was a couple of days ago, and her mom invited all of us over for a birthday party at their place. Her dad tried to get us to talk to her to make up with him. He came to our house and begged us. I told him he did that to himself and only has himself to blame. He kept begging, but we told him we wouldn't betray her like that, and we basically kicked him out. Everyone else basically told him the exact same thing. We had fun at the birthday party, and she got a lot of presents and was really happy, which was all that matters. Her dad is still crying, oh, poor him, and is trying to guilt us into repairing their relationship. He came back over last night, and I just lost it at him, told him to get a grip and lie in the bed he made, and that he only has himself to blame. He actually started crying and left. My wife agrees with me but thinks I was too blunt and brutally honest with him. Was I? The entire family holding the bio dad to his BS. I almost never see that on Reddit. I'm proud for some reason. My in-laws are wonderful people, except him, I guess. He did it himself. I guarantee you this girl is traumatized in being old enough to remember getting kicked out of the home with her mother. She probably saw her mom crying buckets and trying to be there for her daughter. I wonder if he and affair partner are having problems, and now he wants to pretend to be dad now. Yeah, she was probably 8 when that happened. Not the a-hole. She was 8 when her dad basically said, "Nah, I'm good. You two have to go now." He lied to and betrayed his wife, and broke up their family, then married and had children with the woman he chose to abandon his family for. If I was his daughter, I'd never speak to him again. You're right, he did this to himself. Now he has to deal with it. He doesn't just magically flip a switch and have a relationship with the child he abandoned. Now he's trying to play the victim. I don't think you were harsh enough. Yeah, I would have been harsher. You cheated on both of them, your wife and your daughter. Then, on top of that, you discarded your daughter like trash for at least a couple of years, evicted your daughter from the only home she knew along with her mom, like some Disney villain. I shudder and want to cry when I think about what that felt like for her. Then suddenly you found yourself so in love with your new baby daughter that you found your inner dad and got a little nostalgia for the daughter you love less and forced her to spend 50 days a year with you and the woman you cheated with, along with their daughter. Wait, 2 daughters that you love more. But as soon as she was old enough to have a choice, she made her choice clear. And now you want to have a relationship with her and pressure her to forgive you so you can feel better about yourself? What does she get out of this? She seems to be all good with things. What's the emotional or existential upside to becoming the 3rd favorite daughter in your family? F that nonsense. GTFO. Even if there is some tiny part of her baby girl's self that wishes you loved her, there is no interaction or time she could ever have with you that won't always cause her pain and anxiety. Her existence will always be more joyful with you as a suppressed memory. Next story. Am I the a-hole for walking out when my fiancé and his family pulled a fake pregnancy prank on me in public? My fiancé Jerry and I have been together for 1 year, and we are supposed to get married in the first week of December. We have been planning everything, and I truly believed we were both excited for the future. Nothing had ever happened to make me question our relationship until last week. We went out to have dinner at a nice restaurant. At first, everything was calm and normal. We ordered our food, talked about wedding plans, and joked around like we always do. Then, out of nowhere, a young lady walked straight up to our table. She looked angry and pointed her finger right at Jerry. she said loudly. "So you didn't bother to call or check up on me today, but you're here with this thing? Did you forget that I'm pregnant for you?" Jerry's face went pale, and he looked shocked. He stuttered, "Jessica, what are you doing here?" People in the restaurant turned to stare at us. The woman kept shouting, saying things that made us look terrible. She even tried to grab Jerry by the shirt. The whole restaurant froze to watch. I did not yell or argue. I just sat there quietly, trying to understand what was happening. After a moment, I realized I did not want to be part of such a scene, so I picked up my handbag and calmly stood up to leave. As I was walking out, both Jerry and the woman suddenly yelled, "It's a prank! It's a prank!" Someone pulled out a camera, and then Jerry's mom and sister came out from another corner of the restaurant. They were all smiling like it was a funny joke. That was when I understood everything. They had planned this together. Later, Jerry told me he was disappointed. He said he expected me to react, cry, or fight for him. He said his mom and sister wanted to test me, to see how much I loved him. I told him this had nothing to do with love. It was about basic respect. I was not going to scream, cry, or fight another woman in public just to prove something. I thought staying calm and walking away was the mature thing to do. Now I am wondering if I did something wrong by not reacting the way they expected. Am I the a-hole for staying calm and walking out instead of making a scene? So he tested your loyalty by seeing if you would defend or stay with him when he cheats on you? That's the most twisted thing I've heard today. If this isn't the biggest red flag, then I'm a monkey's uncle. Please walk away from this relationship. You should not waste your time with someone who thinks that's a good idea. Yeah, exactly. You nailed it. Fight for him when he cheats. To them, that's the only way I can prove my love. And I have been asking myself, what sort of love is that? Dump him. Thank you. I got that on my mind. If this story is true, I sincerely beg you to imagine in what world this was a funny prank. Pranks are pranks if the goal is everyone laughs at the end, including the person being pranked. Otherwise, it's a cruel plot developed by people who want to laugh at you, not with you. I always ask people when they try to claim something is just a joke, where's the aha? Not only is wording it in that ridiculous fashion a clue up front that it was not in fact funny, it offends. Takes the wind right out of their sails when they are trying to come up with an argument. My success rate for utilizing this approach has been very high. They usually get flustered and end up just repeating, "No one can take jokes anymore," or "People are so sensitive," instead of either apologizing profusely or agreeing it wasn't funny at all, at the very least. Yes, it's true. I just decided to share it and hear other person's opinion to know if I'm getting it wrong, because I didn't find the whole thing funny either. Last story. Am I the a-hole for not giving niece a birthday present after she destroyed mine? I know I might sound petty or childish, but at the same time, I truly feel like my niece needs to learn a lesson about respect. Let me explain what happened. My niece and I have birthdays only a few weeks apart, with mine coming first. On my birthday, my mom gave me a beautiful jewelry dish. It wasn't just any dish. My old one had been lost when I moved houses, and it had a lot of sentimental value. My mom remembered how sad I was about losing it, so she found one that looked very similar. It meant a lot to me that she had put so much thought into it. Later that evening, during our family dinner, I suddenly heard a loud smash from the other room. I immediately went to see what happened. My niece, 14 female, was standing right next to the broken jewelry dish on the floor. I was so shocked I couldn't even speak. She just looked at me, shrugged, and said, "Well, it was ugly anyway," and walked off to the bathroom like nothing had happened. At first I wondered if she was embarrassed and said something mean out of panic. I tried to give her the benefit of the doubt, but a few days later, I overheard her in the backyard talking on the phone with her friend. She said, "My aunt is being so annoying about that stupid dish. It looked horrible anyway. I did her a favor." That made it clear she wasn't sorry at all. I talked to my sister about it, thinking she would at least encourage her daughter to apologize. Instead, my sister brushed it off and said her daughter was just being a kid and that I needed to let it go. But to me, this isn't something small. My niece didn't just break something that meant a lot to me. She also acted disrespectful and showed zero remorse. Now her birthday's coming up, and honestly, I don't feel like buying her a gift. I only got her a simple card. My sister is furious and told me I'm being horrible and ruining her daughter's birthday. But I don't think that's fair. Why should I give her something nice when she broke something important to me and didn't even apologize? I believe actions have consequences. If she wants people to treat her kindly, she needs to learn to show respect back. Gift her the pieces of the dish and call it a day, not the a-hole. I'd also inform your sister that just being a kid does not involve willfully destroying other people's property just because you dislike the look of it and then claiming to others that you did that person a favor by getting rid of something ugly. The fact that your niece behaves that way and your sister condones it does not bode well for the future. Niece is 14 years old. She was raised to be a disrespectful brat with no consideration of others and their belongings. This was not an accident or a mistake. This was a deliberate act that niece doubled down on. The only reason she is so confident in her crappy behavior is because her parents allow for it. She will survive with one less present. Her behavior should not be rewarded. If a gift is going to be given, may I suggest a self-help book for teens? One like Stop Being Toxic might be useful. Not the a-hole. Your niece is old enough to know right from wrong. Unfortunately, her mother is an idiot and a bad mother. Not the a-hole, but make it clear that both actions are connected. You broke my gift, maybe on purpose, maybe not, and did not even apologize or offer to replace it. I will now have to get myself a new one. Therefore, I have no funds for your gift. No gift for me, no gift for you. Actions have consequences. Maybe that will be a learning that will stick.